Hello everybody, Meta here. And as we near the end of the journey through Generation 2 hacks, I wanted to look for some hacks that really do more than just add to the base game. And while I love both of the regions of Johto and Kanto, I knew it like the back of my hand at this point. And I really wanted to find a hack that helped me relive that feeling of exploration again. The feeling I had when playing the 97 demo, when playing Pokemon Coral's demo, to be away from the familiar shores of Johto and explore a whole new region unknown to me. A hack like Pokemon Peridot version. Pokemon Peridot version by Fortree is a hack of Pokemon Crystal that creates a whole new adventure featuring its own unique region filled with new characters to meet, strong trainers to battle, and familiar Pokemon to encounter. The hack also adds in some of its own unique mechanics that make the gameplay loop a lot more exciting and engaging, as well as modernizing the battle system while still keeping some of that classic charm to it. Real quick before we start though, Pokemon Peridot is still in a beta, so anything I say within this review is subject to change, as well as having more content added in the future. With that out of the way, let's see what this hack has to offer right now. As I've said in some of my other reviews, I really love it when hacks feature their own custom region and areas because it shows off how creative and dedicated hack creators can be. It feels like there's a sort of art when creating a whole new world or even extensions to an already existing region that I can only imagine the time, effort, and critical thinking it takes to make your region feel both natural, unique, and have its own good flow to it. The region featured in Pokemon Peridot is one that I can safely say is a pretty great one, despite not having a name. The region of Pokemon Peridot has quite a lot of different towns and landmarks to visit during your journey, with some of these areas featuring a different theme to them. You have your snow-covered mountains with a village high up on their peaks, a town located next to a volcano where you can admire the bubbling lava below, and your dedicated port town by the sea. I'm always a huge fan of these themed areas, especially when they create themes that don't exist in the main games. They give the region more variety to the scenery, as well as adding personality to the locations, making them a lot more memorable. My favorite theme of course is any snow-covered area, so I instantly fell in love with the snowy village atop the mountains. But it doesn't outbeat the snowy area in Pokemon Coral. Sorry, that area was just so good and I loved it so much. As for the dungeons in the region, there's a good amount of them to explore, each littered with goodies and secrets strung about. I do have to say that I really enjoyed the look of the forest in this region, especially since this hack features a lot more caves than any other dungeon. And well, I can only look at the cave tiles so much after playing all these hacks without getting tired of it. But thankfully the caves in this hack don't overstay their welcome. I just hope that they give some of these caves a bit more personality to them in future updates. The region also features a ton of extra areas and secrets to discover all across the world, with some of them being a lot more hidden than others. Most of these secrets you'll find throughout your journey will be located behind these cracked walls that this hack adds, which can easily be broken down using Rock Smash. A good amount of these secret areas will just have some hard to find items in them, but there are a couple of other secrets that feature completely new areas or interesting looking ruins littered with unknown writing. I'm a really big fan of these small ruins because they each give the region a lot more depth as well as add a bit more mystery to it, creating a sort of small backstory for the region itself, wondering what each of these ruins can represent or mean. I also really enjoyed that these ruins are found behind the breakable walls mostly, giving the feeling of discovery and exploration to the region itself. And as I said before, one of my favorite aspects of Pokemon is the exploration of a region and discovering the secrets it holds. But what story does this region hold? And what about those you meet along the way? As for the story of Pokemon Peridot, well, there really isn't much of one here. The hack mostly focuses on the classic League challenge of collecting 8 badges and defeating the League itself, so don't expect any criminal organizations causing chaos throughout the region, nor some story leading to an encounter with a legendary Pokemon. Just your basic plot of becoming the best there is. Despite the lack of a big overarching story, I feel like the League Challenge itself does a lot to lead the driving force though. I mean, every Pokemon game typically revolves around this journey, and everything else after that is just roadblocks or extra things to experience. Sure, these things are neat to have and usually go hand in hand with the story itself, but something about only having to worry about conquering the League Challenge is just refreshingly simple to me. I do, however, expect the hack to feature a lot more in the future though. We never know. Speaking of the League Challenge, the gyms in this hack are actually quite really cool, and I love the way they're handled here. First of all, the gyms have this awesome bit of challenge that you're made aware of before you even enter them, the restrictions. In order to make the gyms a lot more challenging and strategy based, each gym enforces two major rules. You cannot use items in battle while in the gym, and you cannot leave the gym until you white out or win. The first rule itself is pretty standard. Anyone who's played any hack that enforces a bit more challenge, or even to those who put the rule on themselves during a Nuzlocke run, are very familiar with the no items during battle. However, the second rule is what I'm more interested in though. The idea of having the player tough it out the entire gym and not being able to just go back to the Pokemon Center is really cool to me. It really makes the gyms feel like a pure endurance test, pushing players to their limits and showing them that they should always be prepared before entering. Luckily, if you do end up losing a battle in the gym, the trainers you have beaten will remain defeated upon re-entering, just to help those who might be struggling. There's also another very interesting thing to mention about these gyms. Normally in a Pokemon game, most gyms follow a single type, with maybe some Pokemon here and there having a dual typing, but still matching that type that the gym is themed after. In Pokemon Peridot, the first two gyms seem to follow this rule. However, once you reach the third gym, they start using two types as their theming. For example, the fourth gym in this game is a Poison and Dark type gym, where both the trainers and the leader can have both of those types of Pokemon on their team. Again, something I haven't really seen before in a ROM hack. Then again, I've only been scratching the surface right now. I really love how Peridot makes the gyms a lot more memorable here. Not just through their specific gimmicks, but through the changes they've made to all of them, making them a lot more challenging and fun. I can truly say that while playing this hack, I really look forward to each gym within the region and seeing what they had to offer. Now while the hack does mostly focus on the League Challenge and the gyms, there's still plenty of events and scenarios in the region that do give it a bit more story and extra depth. Some of these include rescuing either a person or a Pokemon from a cave, cleaning out a power plant infested with Grimer, or taking back stolen goods from a Pokemart. You know, the typical activities on a Pokemon adventure. All these little events help give the region life, and add a bit more for you to do on your adventure since most of them are mandatory to progress. And since a couple of them also feature the gym leaders, we can see more into their personality and who they are outside of being a gym leader, which I think is really nice. Lastly, you have the two rivals that you fight along your adventure. The first one you meet, which is the one that you can name, displays a personality much like a mix of Blue and early game Silver, constantly talking down to you and being in complete disbelief when they lose, calling it a fluke. Then you have Emily, who is more of a carefree, friendly trainer that enjoys a thorough battle and meeting new people to challenge. I like that Peridot uses both types of rivals, and that they both are tough opponents to fight against. Although I do like Emily more than the other one, probably because I just want to rub my victory in their face for always saying I'm a joke. Then again, that's what makes him a good rival. Now that we know what the adventure is all about, what about the companions we'll be traveling with on our way? Pokemon Peridot has a standard variety of Pokemon to choose from, with the presence of both the Johto and Kanto Pokemon making an appearance here. But there is another surprise appearance from a couple other Pokemon. That's right, some of the unused Pokemon from Space World 97 demo have been integrated into this hack. And I gotta say, it is nice to see them here. Compared to their appearance in both Super Gold 97 and Gold and Silver Reforged, they once again have a different stat spread, and names. While most of these changes to them are interesting, I do have to say that some are a bit underwhelming. For example, WyrlyClan or Warwolf, who in this hack is called Snowmad, is more of a mixed attacker here. And at the surface level, this might be a good thing to help with the ice attacks they learn. but increasing its special attack has now caused its regular attack to take a decent sized hit, making it to be okay on both sides, rather than just being a wonderful physical attacker in general. Thankfully, most of the other changes to the Pokemon are a lot more helpful and are very welcome fixes, giving the weaker Pokemon a chance like Crystal Legacy did, yet not to the same extent. The hack also adds in the Fairy type, along with some new moves for it. And just like most other hacks, the type matchups have been updated to accommodate this new type's inclusion. Also, a quick note, this hack does not feature the special physical split, so Fairy type moves are just special now, which is unfortunate for Granbull. And just like in Crystal Legacy, Ghost type and Dark type have switched what their move types are, meaning Ghost type is special and Dark type is physical. Thankfully, Fairy type isn't the only type to receive new moves, because Pokemon Peridot adds in a bunch of new moves that would later appear in the series, granting all the Pokemon the modern variety they have in future installments, as well as giving them an even bigger move pool. The hack also features a lot of other typical improvements revolving around the Pokemon themselves that most other hacks have included, like having trait evos evolve through different means, and shiny odds being lowered, so finding a shiny Pokemon is a lot more possible in a casual playthrough. I do want to lastly mention some other small changes that did pique my interest. For starters, X items are now held items that increase a single stat by one stage when the Pokemon is sent out, making these items a lot more useful. Speaking of held items, the berries in the games cannot be used outside of being a held item, which I find kinda weird, because most of the time for me, I usually have a berry more often than I have a status healing item, especially since they're free to find all over the world. But it's not a bad change overall, it's just really weird and interesting. And finally, Pokemon Peridot makes all the HMs now TMs, meaning you can forget them easily like any other move, and all the TMs are now infinite like in modern day Pokemon. I do have to say that making the HMs TMs is actually a great way to make them less cumbersome, and easy to use. My only nitpick on them is that they kinda get lost in the sea of all the other TMs. However, Surf is still labeled as an HM in the game, probably because it's the HM people want to actually teach their Pokemon. Pokemon Peridot was a hack that I thoroughly enjoyed. I loved all the new unique features that the hack presented, the new region that the hack takes place in, and all the characters that I interacted with throughout my journey. And while I may have a couple small gripes here and there, I can safely have hope that Seatree will fix these for the final product. Ultimately, I feel that Peridot is a view into what the future of Gen 2 hacks will be. And along with Pokemon Coral version, I can truly see that more and more hack creators are putting in everything to make such masterpieces for everyone to enjoy. I hope that this hack, and every other hack currently in creation, has a smooth development cycle, and that they come out just as envisioned. Meta, out.